There's a version of college football where one decision doesn't just change a program, it changes who benefits from chaos for the next 20 years. Not a scandal, not a championship game. A hiring decision that looked ordinary at the time and quietly rewired how power, money, and access move through the sport. This video is not about nostalgia. It's for people who care about systems, how conferences tilt, why some programs survive disruption, and why others never quite catch up. And yes, this is an alternate timeline. But everything that breaks afterwards is very real. Why this decision mattered nationally. Before we talk seasons, records, or fan expectations, here's the stakes. This single decision determined who would be prepared when the playoff expanded, who would stabilize during NIL chaos, and which conference gained leverage when the sport fractured. It wasn't about wins in 2005. It was about institutional rehearsal for disorder. And it started when South Carolina chose not to hire Steve Spurrier. The fork in the road. In this universe, South Carolina passes on Spurrier. The logic feels safe, familiar, comfortable. Instead, they hire Ron Zook, a box check coach, SEC experience, recruiting reputation, process language. On the same weekend, a different program, NC State, takes the risk and hires Spurrier instead. Two programs, the same moment, opposite instincts, and this is where it breaks. This is where it breaks because what Spurrier brings isn't just offense, he brings permission. Permission to innovate inside rigid systems. Permission to challenge conference norms. Permission to build structure that absorbs volatility. And South Carolina, by choosing safety, forfeits that rehearsal. They don't collapse. They don't embarrass themselves. They simply never learn how to bend. 2005 to 2009. The quiet divide. At South Carolina, the Zook era looks fine on paper. Recruiting classes hold, facilities stay respectable, but Saturdays feel empty. No identity hardens, no leverage accumulates. Inside the SEC, that matters, because the SEC isn't just brutal, it's political. And South Carolina becomes present, but not influential. Meanwhile, at NC State, Spurrier modernizes quietly. Offense spreads, quarterbacks develop. The program stops apologizing for ambition. Inside the ACC, something subtle happens. The league stops feeling top-heavy. Clemson and Florida State are still there, but they're no longer alone. That matters later, a lot. 2010 to 2015, preparing for a storm no one sees. Spurrier ages gracefully at NC State, not chasing titles, but building continuity. Succession is planned. Systems stay intact. Boosters learn patience. South Carolina, meanwhile, cycles again. New coach, new pitch, same friction. They survive the SEC, they never shape it. And when conference realignment accelerates, Texas A&M, Missouri, media money, South Carolina is in the room, but not at the table. They consume change, but they don't direct it. 2016 to 2021, playoff pressure and NIL shock. The four-team playoff era exposes margins. NC State starts appearing in conversations, not selections, but conversations. They're the example everyone uses when arguing for expansion. South Carolina, well, they're not discussed at all. Then NIL arrives, and this is the split that never heals. NC State's collective forms early. Structured, regional, boring, in the best way. South Carolina's NIL response is emotional, fragmented, booster-led. They want to spend, they don't know how. Portal churn accelerates, depth erodes. This isn't failure, it's inefficiency. 2022 to 2025, the 12-team playoff era. Expansion finally arrives. In theory, This should help everyone. But expansion doesn't reward ambition, it rewards readiness. NC State walks in prepared, multiple playoff appearances, hosting games, winning rounds, not a blue blood, but a fixture. South Carolina hovers, ranked 18th, ranked 21st, always in the math, never in the belief. The SEC consolidates power at the top. The ACC gains credibility through depth, and the irony locks in. The program that chased safety in 2005 is now exposed by openness in 2025. What this timeline says about power: this wasn't about Spurrier as a savior. It was about what kind of institution each program chose to become. One learned to absorb chaos, one learned to endure it. And college football stopped rewarding endurance. Legacy. Here's the uncomfortable question this universe leaves us with. If South Carolina had hired Spurrier, would they be a playoff program today? Or would the sport have broken in a way no hire could save? And if NC State hadn't taken the risk, who would be filling those playoff spots now? Because in a system this unstable, legacy isn't who wins, it's who's still standing when the rules change again. If you're interested in how single decisions ripple through entire systems, not just who won games, hit like. Drop a comment with the decision you think breaks the sport next. And subscribe if you want more alternate histories that focus on consequence, not nostalgia. Because the next change is already coming.